Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Beneath the Surface podcast. Today we have a very special guest, Guy Tino.
How you doing? This is an honor. This is great. Very excited.
He is the owner of the Northeast Cafe down in New Boston, about 10 minutes from here. And yeah, let's get right into it. I wanted to ask you about actually, just I guess to start off on that, what were some of your like, not only with cooking and like, growing from, chef to chef and all that, but like, what was some of your biggest challenges? I was curious about that.
So
actually.
I'll look at it from not the kitchen point of view.
Yeah, totally.
Back in my early 20s, I was starting to cook, but I didn't realize that that's what I was going to do forever.
Yeah.
When school in North Carolina, and it was tough to be didn't know anybody out there, but I made some really great friends, and trying to figure out who I was. I think it was great to be away from like my foundation, because I was able to sort of grow undeterred.
Yeah.
I traveled around and worked in lots of different towns, and slowly fell in love with restaurants. Although I could say it was love at first sight. In a different conversation. I love them.
Yeah.
But just as a person, I wouldn't say challenging. Maybe it was a good opportunity for that, but that was probably one of my bigger challenges as a young adult.
Figuring out like who you were.
Figuring out like how to make money, what I liked doing, like different types of jobs. You're just not satisfied. Different places. You're not meeting people that you just get along with great, which is probably the reason I came back to New Hampshire, because I just get along. The people here, seem to be
fall in love with people. Like,
I
mean, I have hands-on experience with that. Customers coming in,
Oh,
and
right.
just like people being like super kind, like, and just welcoming in general.
I think New Englanders are special in that way compared to other places.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like it's everywhere, but like I don't know. There's something special here. Like there's more of them. It seems.
Or maybe it's just because like we're from here, so it's like we're comfortable.
No, totally.
With it. So if you're like from the West, you come to New England and you're like, they're not friendly at all.
Yeah.
And you go to the West Coast and you're like, oh, these are my people.
Yeah.
So it's like we really are that tribal thing.
It really has to do with like where you were born, and it's like, okay, well, this is where I was born. This is what I represent. This area.
Right.
So
comfort
it's like
levels,
comfortability. Yep. Tied in with like, it reminds me of like sports stuff. Like you happen to be born in like New England, so like Patriots, like sports stuff.
You take that with you your whole life.
Yeah.
Like people move all over the country and they're like, I'm a Patriots fan.
Yeah.
I was born in Cambridge or whatever.
and that literally is just like literally a chance. Is like you were born
under the greatest football dynasty of all time.
And then you are now from birth loyal to like these certain things.
Right. And then there are people who just like seem to innately dislike their hometown. Like you hear that a lot. Like, I can't wait to get out of here.
Oh,
they
that's
move.
true.
I hear the story. Colorado seems to be like a magnet for wandering people, and they get there and they just seem to love it there.
Yeah,
they fit right in. Where I found I'm not. Maybe that was the biggest challenge, was figuring out, am I a traveler, and which I really wanted to be. And I kind of had to fight with the fact that I'm really not.
Yeah.
I belong. I like it in New Hampshire. I don't. I'm comfortable here, even though I wanted to just travel all the time and work everywhere. That was sort of a challenging realization. Just go home and be home and just love it.
Yeah, live.
Yeah. Right.
It is interesting. Like I have a good friend of mine who's in Colorado right now, and it is interesting how Colorado. There's a lot of people I know who just like go to Colorado and like go to certain places.
It's crazy.
And it's like, it makes me wonder, like, what is over there? Like, is there like a big pile of gold?
Yeah, well, literally, I mean, the draw to the west was like the Wanderers, and then the East Coast, we built cities.
The West,
People have been going west for forever. It's I guess 240 years or whatever.
Forever.
247
for us, And I like how you mentioned sometimes people really dislike their hometown.
Right.
That's like interesting to me, because I feel like that's like, because obviously you can't like encompass a town in your brain and like judge a town in your brain.
Right.
But you can have like unique experiences that were either positive or negative.
Right.
And then you could be like, oh, well, that happened in that town. So like, damn, I hate
all
that
those
town.
people and the right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or like if they grew up and their parents were, abusive parents or something, they just don't want to look back.
Yeah, right. One of the great things about living in America is that we have that ability.
Yeah.
Like pretty much, not anybody, of course, but if you work hard, you can probably move to another town.
Yeah.
Whereas like in a lot of countries aren't even the size of like 2 of our states or whatnot, you know, and they're just stuck there.
Yeah, and there's a lot less, I mean, America is like, so it's either like underappreciated or overappreciated, like false patriotism type thing.
Right.
But it's like there's a middle ground of like, wow, this place is amazing actually.
Right.
Like freedom wise and like just like like being able to move and like
to wherever.
There's a lot. I mean, obviously there's pros and cons and the pros and cons are big.
Right.
But like at least in comparison.
If you can just put away the political stuff
and
just think about the amount of different cultures that we have here, not necessarily in like a city group, but just like regionally.
Yeah.
You can move. If you weren't, you could go to the South and not understand what they're speaking English, but it's like, not,
so thick, the accent.
Right, or whatever. Move to the West and everything is different,
That's true.
And but you never need a passport. You can just drive out there.
That's kind of crazy too. Is we were talking with my parents downstairs about like, just the fact that we can drive. Like, we were talking about like horse and buggies.
Living
and,
out here,
Yeah, it's like, it really is crazy. The technological advancements we've made within the last 30 years are unbelievable. I know we've talked about this during like shifts and stuff, but like,
unbelievable.
It really is like, we live in this one dot of existence where just like this boom of information.
Right.
And it's just, it's like, what do we do? It's like, there's so many pros and cons. Like we can Google anything, any factoid or most things, and just have it there. Like that's really an interesting thing. And I feel like, do you think that affected at all like your experience growing up through like the 90s and stuff? Actually, I was curious about it, 'cause that was like a big boom there.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, so when I had a pager in high school.
Yeah.
So it was like really before even cell phones. But the brink of cell phones, there was like the Razor. Everybody had the Razor.
Totally.
And the change, I mean, they say all the time, it's funny that they say all the time that like iPads and stuff is like distracting kids, which I'm sure it is. And, and the science behind the light and stuff messing with, people's minds is there for sure. But there was a cover of like a Time magazine. We have a bunch of old Time magazines from like 1951. And there's a father standing outside of a convertible at the Grand Canyon. Yeah. And he's pointing to the Grand Canyon like, look at how beautiful that is. And the kid is reading a color magazine. Yeah. And the girl is looking at like a Sears catalog. So like, no, what's changed?
The Sears turned into like cell phones, and the coloring book turned into iPads.
Yeah. It was like and it was
it's super funny.
Color was new, so the picture wasn't a photograph. It was like a drawing. It was 51 or whatever.
Yeah.
And but it was just amazing. And when you read the headlines to most of those magazines, it's like problems in Afghanistan. You can't trust Russia.
Yeah.
Look out for nuclear war.
Yeah.
Where the oceans are dying.
It's all like fear stuff.
And it's like over and over and over. So it makes me wonder, hopefully since technology is moving so quickly forward, eventually the amount of good it will do, it will catch up to like maybe
to the negative.
Yes, what some people think is negative.
Yeah. Which
is only us. We're using it.
Totally. Well, I mean, it's interesting because there's a lot of the pros and cons to like technology. Like I really, obviously, like I don't know, I'm not an expert.
But I mean, you're thriving in technology right now.
Yeah, right now.
This is making a dream come true, and you would have needed a typewriter.
Yeah. It's like,
there it is right there. Just pull that down and you don't like technology. Yeah.
That's true. It's like, we can record conversations and like, I don't know. I remember my friend told me that books, like when the printing press was in, they were like, this is going to ruin, like, people are just going to be reading all day. Like, they're not going to be doing things. They're just going to be reading.
Right.
And now it's like, you should read.
Right.
So it's like everyone has that thing of like, when something brand new comes out media wise,
Right.
there's always that fear.
Right.
But like I'm trying to think if it's like different here.
Here, as in like
with like this kind of technology.
Here, oh, you mean the speed in which it's traveling, or like
the speed and like the accessibility.
Oh, right,
yeah.
right, and almost like that addiction level that now there's clear evidence of that making people more anxious and more depressed. But that's not technology's fault.
Yeah,
that's
social media.
Like, what are we doing?
That's true.
That's you.
Yeah, I feel like technology, as what it is very neutral.
It has no personality.
Yeah, exactly.
It's only what we use it for.
It's like how we use it could be like unbelievably positive and unbelievably negative. It's like if we're glued to our phones and like addicted to getting likes and comments and like all these things, it's like we're gonna feel poor about ourselves.
Right.
You know, like, we're gonna not have very high self-esteem. We're just gonna, if we're basing all of our value on these things.
Right.
And I think that's a lot of what's happening is like we see, I mean, what social media is, I will just put social media as the example, is really a constant comparison.
Only to the person you're doing the comparison.
Yeah.
So like, you don't have to use it that way.
Yeah, exactly. So like, but it's so like pushed, like people are using social media just because their friends are. And then they're like, oh, well, all my friends are, posting like happy photos.
Right.
It's like, I'll post happy photos.
Right.
And then everyone seems happy because they're looking at everyone else and they're happy.
Right.
But in all reality, everyone's going through stuff. No one's happy all the time, but that's kind of like what's put out there.
Right.
It's really, and I'm part of it too. Photos I'll post, it's like I want them to look good. I want those likes. It's a dopamine rush to get those like comments and likes.
I think that you hit it on the head right there. It's like where we choose to get that dopamine, that satisfaction from, is completely in our hands.
It is. And
like developing any sort of addiction is so easy.
Yeah.
And like you can do it with anything.
Yeah.
Some people choose, well, whatever. There's a gamut of things. And now social media happens to be one of those options.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to control, and we're not, maybe out in the public eye or like the commentary on it isn't enough. You're in control.
You are.
It's like, it's all about, if you scroll, you're hypnotizing yourself and you're more apt to accept ads or whatever. It's like, well, then, no, the commentary should be, don't scroll.
Yeah. Yeah. Take some time aside to not do it.
It's not important. It's nothing you can do,
It's interesting because we do have that control, and a lot of us don't think we do. Like we convince ourselves we need these things.
Right.
We're like, oh wait, no, I can't go through my life without Instagram or Facebook. Right. And as a user of Instagram and Facebook, I'm kind of being, but like, I try not to post as much as I do.
Right.
And like, I have Beneath the Surface podcast on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. But like, I think I like to use those things for like this, like meeting up with you and like doing this podcast, like texting you about it, be like, hey, be there.
Yeah.
Like, or work.
Not letting it get beneath the surface.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let's go.
Use it on the surface. Like the cafe page, there's a ton of people on there.
Yeah.
And, people say some mean stuff.
Yeah.
And, we're not perfect by any means.
Yeah.
And, you just keep it above the surface.
You do.
And then the things that get to you.
Yeah, right. You feel better once you just not take those things so seriously.
Right.
Because these people are just behind their screens and sad about their own lives. So
they don't even know.
They don't even know. But then the criticism that's like, actually, if criticism actually is criticism, then like I welcome that. I need to know how I can like get better. But if it's just like insults for insults, or like whatever it is, you know it when you see it.
Keeping it above the surface.
Yeah.
Taking criticism is simple.
Yeah.
But when you let it go beneath the surface, it really can hurt.
Yeah.
But it's up to you, the person, to not allow that. That's not media. That's not social media's problem.
No, it's our responsibility,
right?
To react. That's a really good point. Is I've been thinking a lot about how we react to certain things.
Right.
Is like even more important than the thing. Like
the thing is over.
Yeah, it's like that's literally the past doesn't exist.
No,
something we can quantify more is like the future, but the past is just dead. It's over that. It's over that. It's constant deaths and rebirths.
That's an interesting thought about quantifying the future, like what your future goals are.
Yeah.
And the past is over. But the past left a trail.
Yeah.
And the future maybe is the trail, but like you can't discount it as like never happening.
Yeah. Yeah, because the proof of the past happening is you.
Is your reaction to it.
Is your reaction
no
to
matter
it.
what that level is.
And
yeah,
who
right.
you are as a person.
Right.
It's like what you've been through has culled the kind of person you are.
Right.
And
has it? That's the question. Nature, nurture question.
Oh, yeah, nature, nurture,
so it's tough to decide.
It's not, I don't think it's 100%,
Either way.
Yeah,
I think that seems to be a good consensus.
But yeah, it's like the future is really, what the future is infinite potential.
Right.
Right? It's just, it's a blank canvas. It really is.
Right.
We think of the future as like kind of set in stone sometimes. Like, I really don't believe in fate.
Yeah.
It's like, it's very interesting to me, and I'd like to hear it out more.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like we are fully like in control here.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Yeah.
We can decide our fate.
Absolutely.
And our destiny. It's like, you decided, dude, you were like making this, you bought 10 years ago, you bought this cafe, and you were like, well, I'm gonna decide this, and I'm gonna marry this person, I'm gonna have these kids. Like, it's just like, we have so much more power than we think.
I think so. I mean, I don't feel that I have more power than I think, because I've
totally.
I've spent a long time, and like when I'm like saying traveling,
basically,
just a lot of inside time to realize that you're in control. Yeah. You're not going to make all the right decisions all the time.
No, of course not.
But like being able to recover from poor decisions, is you're in control of that.
Yeah, that's the reaction.
Like you were saying about destiny, I feel like the people that feel like they hate their hometown are the ones that feel like they're destined to become their neighbor.
Yeah.
But when you can let that go.
That's true, actually.
It's like you're not destined.
No.
You can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe your hometown's not that bad.
Yeah.
You just need to change your job. Or whatever.
Or like
your relationship.
Forgive your parents.
Yeah, right.
Or just, that's another thing is forgiveness is like, it's more for the person than who you're forgetting. I mean, it's for both, but like, it's more for like you.
Yep.
To like get those weights off you.
And whoever you're telling, it's okay.
Yeah.
They can, like you said, react to it however they want.
Yeah.
But your reaction to, like you said, let the weight off. Like, I forgive you. It's okay. I'm done with worrying about that.
Yeah. Like the shit happens. Just I'm gonna forgive you. And there's this podcast I listened to. This was my first podcast I listened to, actually. It was Rob Bell, the Rob cast. He talked about forgiving people loving people from afar. So like, he was talking about those extreme cases of forgiveness when you really can't be around that person because it's like an unhealthy thing.
Oh yeah, totally.
But like, you should still forgive them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like,
you forgive them and not worry about for literally saying like, I forgive you.
Yeah. It's just letting that weight go.
Like, I forgive you. Like, we don't need to talk anymore.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And whether that's like they're on the other side of the world or that's that they're in the other side of the town and you just like really can't be around them in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like just like doing that and letting that weight kind of leave you.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot of energy to like hold on to that.
Absolutely.
Holding grudges is like, I don't know. I've had a hard time forgiving myself more than anything. I'm pretty quick to forgive people.
Right.
Probably because I want them to be quick to forgive me.
Right.
To be honest.
Right.
But it is interesting how important that is to like let go and just continue on.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, you brought some stuff, right? We can.
Oh yeah, you ready?
Yeah.
Right, speaking of.
We can
speak of wine. Okay, so Mackenzie Snow Wine. You're 21.
I'm 20. Yeah.
Congratulations, man. You're just scratching the surface. This is Sangiovese. It's Italian wine. I just bottled it.
For the people, he makes his own wine.
Oh, right. So I'll give you the general how it goes, right?
Low down.
We opened it a little while ago, so it's had time to breathe. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Take a sip. 21, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is a really easy drinking red wine.
Yeah.
Doesn't have much aftertaste. Like below, like hangs out in there.
Yeah. That was very good.
Good. That's funny.
That was my first wine ever. So
ever in your whole life? Wow, that's amazing. I'm glad you got to go right to the top.
Yeah.
So these grapes came from the Susan Valley in California, which I think is in the sort of northwest area. And they're an Italian grape. They're typically, use to blend.
Yeah.
But I've served this to a couple of older Italian folks that I know that have come to the cafe, and they're like, "This is what we make in Italy."
Wow.
They don't mix it. It grows really well there.
Wow.
So I really like old traditions and stuff like that. So I got some of these grapes, made them, didn't blend them with anything.
Yeah.
It's sulfate free. So like I'll go to Hartford, Connecticut, pick up actual grapes, not fruit, not juice, crush them, add yeast. It sits in there for like a week at like 90 degrees.
Wow,
it really gets cranking and you can smell it. And then it gets pressed.
And not the juice. You get your own grapes. That's the thing. It's like, I feel like a lot of people just like buy the juice.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
there's like a lot of like shit in there that's like, not just juice.
Yeah.
But then when you just straight up get the grapes, that's really
grapes
impressive.
and so the reason for that and that shit that you're talking about is sulfates.
Yeah.
So like they'll crush grapes on site, which has benefits because you want them fresh as possible.
You do.
But you crush them on site and then you add a sulfate to it to kill all the natural yeast so it doesn't start to ferment on its own.
Okay.
But the whole idea of making wine for me was to keep all the sulfate out of it, keep everything out of it except for grape juice and the yeast that they work on every year, and the yeast industry is wild. I mean, biochemistry is pretty wild.
Yeah.
So this is still a little young. It's not even a year old yet. It will be in October. But so far so good.
Still, no, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, like, tasting, because, like, I didn't have much to go off of, obviously. I think I did, like, when I was, like, 5, my dad was like, take a sip of this wine.
Yeah, right.
I did,
right.
And it was like, oh, like, I've never had that. And alcohol is also, like, when you're 5, it's like, oh, God, what is that? Like,
you can taste the alcohol in this for sure.
But, like,
let's
now,
take another second and we'll talk about how it tastes.
Now it's, like, it's interesting how your taste buds change. Like when I was 5 versus now. Now I'm like, it just.
Oh my goodness!
It just is so much smoother.
If my sister ever heard you say that, I hope she listens to this because when she was little, like, I didn't think you liked green beans.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, taste buds change. Taste buds change.
It's like really loud.
Yeah,
like,
she's a lawyer now, and she's perfect for that job. She's like, when she was younger, she's like, I'm going to be a paralegal, and I'm thinking you will be a lawyer. I think in the future once you
don't put him in jail.
She works for a company that handles things like the oil pipelines and power lines, big companies that are following the law, but there's legal battles. Because
so they need that voice, man. That taste buds.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They need that.
It's funny because she's kind of she's a self-proclaimed yippie, which I think is a yuppie and a hippie. Yuppie and hippie
what's
combined.
What's a yuppie? What is that?
Oh, a yuppie?
Yeah.
You went to school. Where'd you go to school?
Conville,
Maybe not too many yuppies. Bedford. Think of the guy driving the Cadillac.
Okay.
Or no, like the Mercedes Benz.
Okay.
Who has no time for you.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. No offense to Bedford at all.
There's
just a lot of congestion with traffic, and there's lots of fancy cars.
Totally.
Not the people.
Did they have some of those at Sauhegan?
Oh, yeah.
You went to Sauhegan?
Yeah, I went to Sauhegan. I intentionally didn't say Amherst out of just sheer embarrassment.
No worries. Now I know. Because I know what you said. It was a yuppie and a hippie, right? A combination. A yippie.
A yippie.
It's like a tongue twister.
A hippie. A hippie yuppie. Anyway, so it's funny that she works for like the man.
Yeah.
Because she's very environmental.
Yeah.
She's conscious.
Yeah, she is.
But she's protecting the law.
Yeah. Which she has a lot of she's loyal. I got a flag going around.
Well, literally, I think. Yeah. I don't know where loyal came from, but it probably has something to do with lawyer.
Lawyer. Yeah, you got to be like sworn into that. Yeah. My God. So you can get this at the cafe, right? You can get.
We
obviously, right? I mean,
don't always have it. Like I opened the last bottle.
Yeah.
I have to bottle some more, but we mix it, make the sangria.
Yeah.
Buying it by the bottle. Will be a thing.
Yeah, more by cups, come
and get a glass.
Trying it out.
Yeah, I had it in stores early on, and it's just a lot, and I'm not ready to go ahead and make 200 gallons,
Yeah.
make like 70 gallons.
Yeah.
And that gets the cafe through for a year. And then like I have some in barrels, I'll bottle. And then when those bottles are getting close to the end, the grapes I'll buy in October will be ready.
Yeah.
So like we're in this nice little rhythm to support the cafe.
Yeah.
But in a few years, I would love to have the Tino Winery be like around.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Go to
definitely.
restaurants particularly. But not now.
What inspired you to do wine? I always because this was
right.
after the cafe, right?
This was
or
so
this-
the cafe opened for dinner originally. We were
Okay.
going to be like a fancy dinner place.
Yeah, I remember that
That's
actually.
just where I was sort of like coming from as a cook, and then the people basically they wanted breakfast.
Yeah.
So there were just breakfast, but a lot of the locals would bring wine that they made.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to get in on this,
Yeah.
and then sort of work with them one year, bought my own grapes the next year, and then we're like, well, let's just try to make money out of this.
Yeah.
Let's make this a thing.
Yeah.
My hobby is my work currently. I mean, like the cafe is
Totally.
just as much a hobby as it is a job.
And that's like phenomenal. I feel like that's like really awesome.
I think I'm really, really lucky to have landed in a spot that's small enough to manage without getting crazy.
Yeah. That was my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, when I started, that was my favorite thing. One of my favorite things was how how it wasn't like a multi-layered management, like
Yeah.
hundreds of people involved.
Right.
It was much more personable.
Yep.
You got to know who you're working with through shifts, and you got through the.
There's like 4 of us. You're
Yeah,
like, wow,
yeah,
this is everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciated your persistence when you just kept showing up.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah. I was like,
the girls
hey,
would be like, "You came back again today. I'm here. I'm there all the time, except for the times that you come by." Like, I gotta hire this kid. Like, he's here anyways.
yeah. He'll be here
He'll be here
either way,
anyway.
paid or not. He's gonna be here. I remember that because I remember I kind of went a couple times, and I was job searching, and I was also looking at like pasta. I was Pasta Loft. I was
Oh
looking at
yeah,
Pasta
that's right. I
Loft, yeah.
forgot you were there for like 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
I'm like, how's it going? You're like,
No, I was shaking my head a little bit. I was like,
can we not talk about this?
I was like, that's my. I don't want to go into that. But no, it was rough over there, and I
Yeah.
think it was solely because of like a lot of the time the layered management. There was a lot of layered management.
Yeah.
There was a lot of just disconnection.
That's intentional.
yeah.
I mean, when you're looking at a place like that, the difference between the cafe and most restaurants, probably not cafes included, because a lot of small places like
Totally.
owner managed are probably similar.
Yeah.
But you almost need to have like a regimented, disconnected sort of approach.
Yeah.
So things are done this way all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do it different.
That was my favorite thing. Definitely is just getting to know the people and liking that. The customers who came in, there are definitely usuals, obviously.
Oh, right, of course.
There's like
yeah.
Bob and like
Yeah.
a bunch of other people.
Yeah. Bob and Bob.
Bob and Bob. Yeah, there is other Bob. But yeah, this place just attracts Bobs for some
It
reason.
does.
But,
It does. It's funny. It's that took a little like the great thing about New Boston was as soon as we opened and got going, it was like so much support. We've had people coming in for 10 years.
Yeah.
It's been amazing, the support. I like to tell people like we're a reflection of what's happening in the town, because when we opened, we didn't have any baby chairs.
Yeah.
It was like all, we had maybe 14 seats out front. And now we have 5 kids chairs and 20 seats out front. It's like the town is growing and changing, and we're just like a reflection of it.
Yeah, you're you've seen the evolution of not only the town, but of the people.
Absolutely.
You've seen people 10 years. Like a decade being in one place is like...
Well, Jess used to come in as a baby.
No way.
She's 16 now.
She saw her when she was 6?
So yeah.
Oh my
And now
gosh.
she works there. So it's like all that stuff.
And you
Or
have memories of that.
Oh yeah, my wifey
my
especially remembers her.
Wow.
Like crazy frizzy hair.
It's
so funny.
I went there when I was I can't say 6, but I went there. I think when
10
I
or
was
12.
I think I literally was like 10.
Yeah.
And I went there. We went there for special occasions.
Right.
Like my dad would be like, "Hey, Father's Day, you want to go to the
Go to
cafe?"
Pancake.
Yeah. Or like
Back then it wasn't cranking on
Yeah,
Father's Day. You
yeah.
could actually get a seat. I miss those days.
Yeah.
Sometimes like we just should move. shut her down.
Have 2 cafes for fathers in the...
No, I mean, just like, so we're not that busy.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, shut her down for like 15 days.
Yeah.
To, like, trick everybody that we're gone.
Yeah.
And then, like, slowly turn one light on at a time.
Have one of the signs there. Like, hey, we're sort of open. Only
when
if
we're tired of it, we'll shut it down.
I mean, that was kind of with like the 4th of July, right? It was just like, so many people, you know. You gotta draw a line somewhere.
Yeah, it was great. Taking the 4th off was definitely a milestone because it was our 10th year.
Yeah.
You know, we opened on the 4th of July.
You did?
10 years ago.
No way.
And
I did not know that.
And then, you know, to be able to be like not open and just go enjoy it. It was definitely a milestone for sure.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Seeing your kids on the float. She
little Claire Bear riding her bike.
That's so cute.
Yeah. Her scooter.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I want to be able to grow a business, man. You're an inspiration because it's like, just you got to start somewhere, right? It's like, it's just, you got to remember that you learn as you go.
Right.
And like, that's how I've recorded episodes on here. You know, I recorded one episode when it was just no audio. I told you that.
Yeah. You're like,
Yeah, I was like, and I just went back to the video and it was just like, wah, 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 you know, you can't hear anything.
That's awesome. But you can do a lot with that. Like, once you get really good at editing, you can like totally like clips.
Or like different
you said this. I saw this.
It's interesting how like, if you put enough of your voice out there, you can do anything.
You can do anything. Being in the public eye
it's scary.
It's a scary thing. That
I'm scared of it. I haven't done it yet, really.
Right.
I haven't posted anything yet.
Right.
I'm like super scared of just like.
But that goes back to how you react. Like you know,
full circle.
Who cares what people have to say?
Yeah.
Some people might really like it. You might really turn somebody's imagination on and you know, really affect them.
Yeah, that's it. You got to forget the nonsense.
Yeah.
That's in the comments, you know, and just take in constructive criticism and, you know, positivity.
Right.
And just kind of remember that you're doing this not so you can't please everybody. You know, you're not doing this for everyone all the time because you literally can't.
Right.
You know, people are going to be mad at something, you know. And I guess I'm over speaking just because I'm going to have like, you know, 3 or 4 views each video probably. But it's going to be, you know, it's going to be an experience. And even if I consistently have that for years, it's just like, this is just fun.
It's just fun. Yeah, that's the key right there. It's like, just like it.
Finding a passion and just kind of diving right in.
Right. And having the ability to be like, yeah, you're right. If somebody says something negative, you're like, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
Like, well, I can do better than that.
I can fix it.
We'll try not to let that happen.
Yeah.
I've definitely said that before.
Definitely. You didn't have the coffee, right? I wanted to talk about the coffee.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't bring any. I have a cup in my car.
Yeah, we just like go out and snag number 1 dad.
This is my. It's a Yeti, but
okay.
I think I did get it for Father's Day though.
No, but I just wanted to quickly shout that out. That you guys roast our own coffee, and it's really. I'm not even a coffee drinker, but I drink your coffee.
That's nice.
You know, like if I like am low on energy, you know, if I have too much coffee, I bounce off the walls.
Yeah, right.
But people come in and have like 4 cups, 5 cups of
crazy.
coffee, and it's just like we're just cranking coffee out, and we're just like we got to keep it going.
I think the idea about the cafe when we decided we're going to do breakfast was take like that high-end restaurant mentality and apply it to breakfast, which basically means sourcing the best product coming in the back door and prepare it ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, and we do that with, you know, a lot of the stuff, coffee being one of them. And it's been able to you know, learn. People want to have something. You're like, well, I'm not going to go buy corned beef. We'll figure out how to make it. We'll make corned beef or whatever. Yeah. And it's been great. It's been good for me because you would think that if I'm not continually working for the best out there, like these super chefs or incredible restaurants where you're always learning, you might lose interest because you're not moving forward. But this has been like every year pretty much we've come up with something that has been you know, staple at the cafe.
Yeah.
Like coffee for a couple years now. Wine at one point. Yeah. You know, brisket was not a thing a couple years ago. Yeah. You know, barbecue
just finding
sauce.
New things and implementing them, you know.
Right.
And I feel like something that I've been curious about is how competitive the food industry, or not the food,
that's
but like
crazy.
being like a chef type thing.
It's crazy.
Is it?
Yeah,
I've heard
crazy.
it's like a madhouse, you know, getting like sometimes, you know.
It is, man. Like working in some of those kitchens when you have like lots of younger cooks or up and coming cooks, age irrelevant, but like
totally,
it's a lot of competition in there.
Yeah.
But I was, I think, fortunate because I had the mentality of I was going to travel around.
Yeah.
So I'm like, would be very upfront about I'm going to work here for the season.
Yeah.
And then just do the best I can, learn the most I can, and then not worry about, you know, whatever these other guys are saying. Like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pick up, you know, barbecue sauce here in the South, and then I'll go to the coast and we'll do like lobster.
Yeah.
You know, so like, it kind of got me away from that competitive heat.
Yeah. Because that's just such high stress, you know. It's like, and stress kills more than, you know, I mean, high stress is just like, that'll knock years off your life.
Yeah,
you know,
well, that's back to how you approach it, right? I mean, stress can come from a phone, or it can come from your job, or it can come from driving.
It reminds me of like the stress that, I wanted to talk about this just because I love talking about it with you at the cafe, was the stress, Mr. Lazar is feeling about the
right. Nice segue, bro.
Let's go.
Right.
No. I was like, how am I gonna get this? How am I gonna squeeze this in?
So Lazar is speaking now.
Yeah.
Like, so he's in his 70s, I would guess.
Yeah.
Right. So he's not. These aren't recordings from the past. This is him talking.
He's like 60 something now.
Yeah.
And then for like 30 years. 30 years ago he worked for Area 51 and like Sector S, and then he says he worked on this technology.
Yeah.
And like,
I think it's
just so interesting. It's like, whether it's true or not, especially if it's true, I mean, it's just like, it's such the fact that, so I'll just give a quick background, is like Bob Lazar was this guy who worked on Area 51 on this like supposed alien technology that literally, made possible the impossible. You know, it created anti-gravity. It, you know, defied physics, and a lot of these things. But it's just he's so clear and so honest seeming, that it's like kind of like boggles my mind, because there's no holes. Like he's saying the same things now that he said in the 80s.
Right.
He was like, I did this exact. There's no like overlap or holes or so. You know, I just wanted to bring that up just because it's really been like kind of changing the way I can see the way I perceive reality.
In what sense? Like, it doesn't change your day-to-day life, does it?
No, it just changes like how I think about existence in like not a really huge way, but like in the sense of like, okay, so if it's true, there are people who are smarter than us that can travel. Like, it just like makes the universe seem so much bigger than it is. Like so much more infinite. Because
see, I'm the opposite. I feel like it makes the universe seem
smaller,
more reachable.
Yeah. I totally get that too, actually, because they're coming here.
Well,
if it's true.
If you can manipulate gravity.
Oh yeah, the technology is
like
even
that
bigger.
means you can travel to anywhere at essentially any time.
Yeah.
So what is out there is like, who knows?
Like, what's possible? That's what messes with me too. Is like,
anything's
possible. This, especially like just knowing about this stuff in the sense of like literal time travel is more conceivable now.
Yeah.
Because if you can mess with space, you can mess with time. And if you can mess with time, I think you could only go in the future though. I think the past is mathematically different.
Can slow it down. Yeah. So from what it sounds like, and like it's funny, I was just watching this thing on black holes also, which is supergravity. You know, everything is like ultimately dense and ultimately small.
Black hole,
So like they don't know much about that. But the more we learn about it, it's the same technology that Lazar is talking about, understanding gravity.
Yeah.
You know, so like time slows down because there's more gravity. So if there's less gravity, time is moving faster. Relative to what? Everything around you, not you. It's not like you age more quickly. Yeah. Just relative to somebody watching you.
He had the great analogy of putting a bowling ball on a bed.
Right.
And you put your fist in the bed next to the bowling ball.
Right.
And it warps the bowling ball and it has it come towards you. That's what it is to bend space-time.
Right.
It's like, it just kind of warps. And it warps time, it warps space. I really don't know enough about it, but I was talking with my friend Arthur, who's actually going to be on the podcast at some point, and he's literally one of the smartest guys I know. Yeah. He's an engineer. He works for I forget the company, but he we were just talking about it, and he was just like calculating all this in his head.
Right.
He was just like, okay, so space time X, what, da, da, da. And I was just like, I was like, holy shit.
That level.
Like, yeah. And he calculated it. He measured like gravity, because what gravity does normally is it pulls. Right. It pulls, but he like anti-gravity with this machine Lazar was working on, it pushed.
Right.
So like he put his hands on it and it just wouldn't. Right. You know, it'd be like two magnets. Right. You know, so I don't know. He just I really couldn't go into too much detail with what Arthur was saying, because it was so dense. But I just want to, man, it's just boggling my mind.
It's crazy to even think about
the possibilities.
But the same thing, like we've said about technology for the last 100 years. Like we went from horse and buggy. Well, I guess 2020. You need to go back 150 years.
Yeah.
Even if you went 200.
Yeah.
You're still not.
200 years.
You know, it's a blink.
Is no time.
Right. Even relative to civilization.
Yeah.
You know, like there've been, people around for, 4
however
times that,
much
or
we guess.
10 times that.
Yeah.
Longer. Yeah.
Like,
seems like we're always finding civilizations where like, was 5,000 years ago. Well, this is 10,000 years old. It's bold.
Like here's 50,000 years.
Yeah, okay, but I guess it was 50,000 years. They're dinosaurs. Well, I don't believe it.
Yeah, humans were dinosaurs. I was a pterodactyl. Okay, like.
I would be the one that's little, like with the ball on its tail. You know what I mean?
Yes, and
they're
spikes
pretty
on
fast.
The ball.
Yeah.
Yes, I know what those are.
Yeah.
I'd be a turtle.
You'd be a pterodactyl.
Turtles
were huge back then.
Yeah, turtles have just lived for thousands of years or something. Or they did at least.
They're wow.
So that was just something that's been sticking in my head recently.
Yeah, in what sense? Like, does it fascinate you that the future might include, space travel relatively early?
Kinda.
Or the fact that we can't figure out this, our smartest people can't figure out this gravity, that we have something to like deconstruct and we still can't do it.
Yeah. A combination.
Right.
Because it's like, one, it's like the combination of the potential that this technology holds.
Right.
Or can hold.
Right.
Combined with just maybe communicating with a species that is looked at as basically enlightened compared to us.
Technologically.
It's like,
but you don't know what they're like. You don't know what they're like socially.
Exactly. We don't know what they're like at all, really.
Or do we?
Yeah, or do we?
Maybe there's an open dialogue.
Yeah.
We
could know. There was a Lazar. This is a small sector. Lazar doesn't think this was what he looked at, but he had this slight memory. You know when you like remember something, memory is like 20% of what the actual thing happened.
Yeah, you're right.
So he slightly remembered this thing. He was in the air, sector S. And he looked in a window, and he was told to just look straight. He looked in a window, and he looked at 2 guys who worked in the sector, like human beings, looking down and talking to something.
Right.
And Lazar's like, no, there's like people think they were talking to an alien,
right?
Like that, because the seats in the in the reactors were the size of like a small dog,
right?
Like the people
like
were little people,
yeah.
So he was like, they were like, maybe they were talking to like some little aliens, but Lazar is like, no, they could have been talking about something there, or like, it's probably not an alien, but it is interesting. It could have been, right? And it's like have we come in direct contact? It's like, that's a good question, because I know there's other life. There has to be.
Even mathematically, there has to be. So many planets and so many solar systems. There's
too much out there.
Yeah, there's too much. There's no way. No way.
So, and we're just in a box doing a podcast.
Yeah,
so
just trying to have a positive attitude every day. That's all. Don't hold grudges.
Don't hold grudges. Moral of the story.
Yeah.
Don't hold grudges.
Nothing. Yeah. Right, be nice to people.
But yeah, I think I'm just gonna call it there.
Yeah, great. That was awesome.
Thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. And go visit the cafe in New Boston, Northeast Cafe. Give it a search, and come visit me and Guy. So thanks, man.
Yeah, it was awesome.